infiNET EX is another communication bus that is widely used across Crestron systems. We can use this for lighting keypads, dimmers, thermostats, remote controls, and also non-Crestron devices such as Yale locks. infiNET EX has many benefits. First, it's wireless communication. This is very useful for areas where cabling is difficult, such as retrofit or an old building. infiNET EX has an impressive range up to 150 feet or 46 meters indoors. The technology behind infiNET EX actually means that this distance can be easily increased. It's also tolerant to Wi-Fi and other wireless networks, even though it sits in the same band. There's also support for multiple gateways in one system. This allows us to spread our devices across floors or between buildings. While infiNET EX is a proprietary Crestron technology, it's based on standards used by other manufacturers, allowing for easy integration with non-Crestron products. infiNET EX operates within the 2.4 GHz band. Many other devices also operate in this band, so like any wireless technology, we must consider the environment: Wi-Fi, other Crestron gateways, and background noise from things like microwave ovens or deck phones. Understanding which devices already exist or will exist in your immediate environment is essential for planning a successful system. When placing gateways for any of these technologies, we need to consider distance limitations. The higher the bandwidth, the smaller the distance. 5.8 GHz Wi-Fi, for example, has a much higher data rate, so higher data transfer speeds can be achieved. However, the distance is less than that of 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi. infiNET EX has a slower data rate because we don't need to do things like streaming video. However, this has the advantage of having a longer range. In order to increase the range and reliability of the devices, Crestron infiNET EX uses a mesh network. This means that as well as the gateway, most other devices act as routing nodes. As well as sending its own information to and from the gateway, a routing node is able to relay commands from other devices. This sets up a mesh network whereby all devices have multiple ways of transferring their data to and from the control processor. In the mesh network, some devices are leaf nodes. A leaf node is not able to have the routing functions of a routing node. With Crestron infiNET EX, leaf nodes are generally battery-powered devices. Let's have a look at a mesh network example using infiNET EX and Crestron devices. Where possible, the gateway is placed in the middle of all the devices. Shown here is a processor with a gateway built in. With a single keypad, there is one path of communication between the gateway and that keypad. Adding a second keypad creates a communication path for that new keypad. However, as both devices are routing nodes, they can now also talk to the control processor via each other. Adding more devices strengthens the mesh. Now we'll add a handheld remote. This battery-operated device doesn't work as a routing node and will only transmit its own information. In this example, our handheld remote control is outside the distance limitations of infiNET EX and therefore cannot talk to the control processor directly. It can only communicate via the keypad. This could potentially become a weak point in the network, so adding in a repeater or any other device that acts as a routing node will strengthen the mesh in that area. As with any wireless technology, it's extremely important to follow some wireless best practices. The most important consideration is the location of the gateway. Where possible, the gateway should be located in the middle of the devices. The gateway should also be placed on the same floor as the wireless devices. If an installation spans multiple floors, then multiple gateways can be added, one on each floor, setting up a wireless mesh network on each floor. The gateway should also be located above the height of most furniture to eliminate any obstacles. It should also be located away from large metal objects such as equipment racks. Gateways should also be located at least 12 feet apart from any other gateway on adjacent channels. Each device on the infiNET EX network needs a 2-digit unique ID. This ID system works in the same way as a CrestNet bus.